Good evening. Welcome to Deer Corner. Um, Here at the house, getting things caught up. It's kind of like winterizing your camper here. Deer season's here. I'm going to be spending about 3 months deer hunting up at the cabins. So I'll be spending a little time here at the house. So I got to get things done and put away. But that brings me up to another topic that I haven't heard about or watched on YouTube either. To me, it's called self-discipline. And deer hunting takes a lot of self-discipline. I have my pack ready. I hunt all day, so I make sure I have everything in my pack that I'll need except my food. The worst thing I could do is get out there in the stand and forget something. So I have to have that ready. I also have to have my clothing ready. So depending on the weather and the type of weather, I have to make sure my clothing's ready. So there's a lot of self-discipline in the hunting. How you get into the woods, how you get into your stand as stealthy as you can, how to sit down, how to get arranged. There's a whole lot to do. And it takes time. You're not going to learn it overnight, but it takes time to learn a little bit of self-discipline. A good buddy of mine a couple of years back did everything right. Had everything ready. Got in his stand. And then turned around and realized he left his arrow in his quiver in the truck. So he had his bow but no arrows. So, yeah, self-discipline means a whole lot. All the way down to, it's been a while back, but I had a nice young buck in front of me. Nice, stocky buck. Might have been a 6-point. And I didn't take the shot. I didn't put him down. I had opportunity. But there was a couple does around him. And I have figured out that if I would have took that buck, I would have scattered them does. And basically, by scattering them does, I could have spooked them for the rest of the deer season. Therefore, my friends and family wouldn't have an opportunity because them does would have been spooky. So it took some self-discipline in not shooting that buck at that time and letting him go. Something else is timing. Timing's crucial in deer hunting. I usually take 2 deer a year. I take a young buck, and that's my steaks and my stew meat. Then I'll take an older buck, and that's my hamburger. And timing in deer hunting, and for the hunters that have seen it and understand it, if you see a buck come through and he's all stiff and walking stiff, there's a lot of stuff out there talking about the rut and how their neck swells up. And the truth of the matter is, if you see a buck all stiff, walking stiff, it's not actually the rut. He is basically, at the time, the big buck on the block. So that's kind of like boxing and you have a heavyweight champion, and he's going to go ahead and fight an ultralight champion. It won't be a good square match. And your deer are the same way. When you have one coming through that's all swelled up, at the time, he is the big buck on the block. Now, if there's a bigger buck than him around, he won't be coming through all swelled up. So, if I'm the first of the year, I'm going to go after my young buck. I do every year. If I see a buck come through all stiff, I'm going to be looking around quite hard, because he's showing off for another deer that he's the big buck on the block. And I usually end up shooting my smaller buck by seeing that movement of a larger buck. And that's all to do with timing. So there's a whole lot in learning in deer hunting by watching deer throughout the years on how they work and act and move and their body language. So, and there's enough videos out there right now on this that you can turn the sound down. Don't listen to people talking. Watch the deer. Look at the movement of the deer. You'll notice a whole lot of things sitting in a stand all day. And one of the things I like to watch is a woodpecker, because that just amazes me how that woodpecker can beat his head against a tree and not have a severe headache. That just amazes me. And things like that. Look at a squirrel and how a squirrel goes upside down on a tree. It's just things like that I just enjoy watching. So sitting in a stand all day, I always see something. And not necessarily have to be a deer, but there's something out there in Mother Nature that just fascinates me. So yeah, it does take a lot of self-discipline sitting in a stand all day. Your movement. And knowing when and how to take a shot. Even though that deer is in front of you and you can get a shot at him, you have to realize what is around him before you take that shot, so you don't ruin the hunt for somebody else. So I'm getting things here at the house ready to go. Now my filming this deer season will have to come if I have the opportunity, because I will take deer hunting first, and if I have the opportunity of doing any filming, I will. You also actually have to be, and I like to call it, in movement with the nature. And to me, that is, depending on the wind, how it's blowing, if it's a strong wind, things are moving, you can move a little more. If it's a slow breeze and things aren't moving, you don't want to move as quick. So it takes a little bit of thinking, I put it, technology, discipline, or whatever, to how to move with your surroundings so you don't stick out. Because keep in mind, a lot of areas you're hunting, you're going to be a knot on the side of a tree. You're going to be seen. But if you move with the environment, you won't be as seen as much. But if you're moving slower than the environment or faster than the environment, you will stick out. You will be noticed. Self-discipline and sound. This is something that has not come up before. This Mountain Dew. And a deer can hear a higher sound. Now when you open a Mountain Dew or a carbonated soda, you hear it hiss. And that hiss you are hearing is the moisture between the cap and the lid. You're not hearing the whistle. Now you got your sneaky open. Open it real slow, so you don't hear it. But yet, the sound coming off this carbonated soda here that is coming out, the pitch is higher. You don't hear it, but a deer does hear it. So all you're doing with carbonated soda is opening it up, and it's making a whistle sound. Deer can hear this whistle sound. It's in a higher frequency, higher pitch, but you don't hear it. That's why I carry bottled water, non-carbureted water. But a bottled soda is, to me, a no-no. So you can be the sneaky man and think you're getting by slowly opening it, so you're letting that hiss, that whistle sound, go for a minute instead of a couple seconds. So self-discipline and sound is something else you have to learn and work with. Being prepared to sit in the stand all day. Now, I've seen a lot of videos, seen a lot of YouTubes where certain people say it's a waste of time to sit in a stand all day or sit in the same stand all day. Well, evidently they got their stands in the wrong place. There's nothing worse than you can do is get down to your stand and start tromping through the woods to another stand. That is a no-no. So sitting and getting prepared to sit in a stand all day, to do little or no movement, that takes a lot of self-discipline. And I'm going to tell you, I fall asleep. Many times I'll fall asleep. And I have said before, I have sat there with my knife peeling an apple and dropping my peelings. And I heard something, and I looked down, and a doe was eating my apple peelings right underneath me and didn't know I was there. She didn't have a clue, and she went on. So yeah, it takes a little bit of work. It takes some time. You won't learn it. You're going to make mistakes. I still make mistakes, but I learn from them. 8 to 9 months here of preparing for deer season. I got 3 months here deer hunting, and I'll learn something this deer season I need to get done on the 8 and 9 months preparation for next year. And that is something else I do carry with me, and that's a pencil. I forget things, so I have to write them down. So yeah, I enjoy deer hunting. I hope you do. I hope you have a good, successful deer hunt. Thanks for coming along. Subscribe. It don't cost you nothing. And I hope to see you again.